Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Health and Lifestyle Talk Show. We are joined by my co-host, Yen Cleary.
Hi, everyone.
Corina Sell.
Hello.
Corina is one of Yen's guests, and she's going to talk to her all about what she does. So go ahead, Yen.
Okay, thanks. Hi, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well with this rainy weather out there. Careful with your driving, careful in the rain. So I'm really, really honoured and proud to be able to have Corina in the room with us. Hi, Corina.
Hiya.
Thanks so much for travelling all the way from Mascot out to here to be with us today.
Yeah, no problem.
So I really wanted all our listeners today to really know and get to know Corina, because she's had a really hard life, and then she's also worked really hard in her career. So she's worked 12-hour days minimum, so 12-hour plus days. She's had credit card debt, and she's dealt with all of that powerfully. And so and then now she's in really she's set up her life really well, and she's set financially too, and in the future is looking really bright for her. So today I wanted to bring her in so she can share with you what it was like for her before her success right now. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about you, Corina, how it was for you growing up, what it was like first.
All right. Well, starting at the beginning, I guess, as a kid, I grew up with my mum being on the sole parent pension. My dad was in my life every other weekend, but we knew that money was very hard to come by. We were on the Australian equivalent of food stamps. I've got memories of lining up at the charity shop so we could go and pick our 10 items of food out.
Wow. How old were you then?
Right from when I was a kid. So my mum was single from when I was about 3 years old.
Wow, yep.
And I just remember money's hard. Mum brought us stuff. We never felt like we were broke. It was more when we started school where we realised other kids got more than what we did. Seeing my mum really upset and really nervous about speaking to the principal about not paying school fees that year because she didn't have them, seeing her stressed when we went to the uniform shop and limiting what we were able to buy. And, just starting to realise that some of the friends I had around me didn't stress about those things.
Wow, that would have been hard for you. What did you decide as a small person about how life would be?
Well, I decided that life would be very different when I grew up. So right from a young age, my big goal when I was a kid was to get through university. From an early age, I wrote a story when I was in grade 1 about how I'd fund my university through working in an ice cream truck.
That's great.
Teacher called my mum in and said, kids don't normally talk like this.
Wow.
But I decided from a very young age that I had to be successful, no choice about it. But my goal was so that I could take my mum around the world because she had never left the country.
Wow. I'm so moved by that. Wow. That's really amazing. And then, so what was it like for you when you were a teenager, and then your first jobs and things like that? And then how did it really turn around for you as a young adult? Because you're only 30. Are you 30 yet?
I'm 30 now.
Wow.
Things as a kid moved pretty dramatically when I turned 15 and lost my mum to cancer.
Oh.
So I went from being in this house with my mum and my sister to having to move 2 hours away in with my dad, my stepmom, stepkids as well. And my whole life was turned over, so it was on its head. That lasted for a year before I moved back out to Melbourne. I missed my friends and wanted to be around them. So at 17 years old, I was actually living out of home the first year with a friend and her family, and then at 17 by myself in a government house. At
17 living in a government house, what was that like for you, and what did you learn?
Look, it was hard because what I realised now looking back on it, I lost focus on my why. My why was taking my mum around the world. When that was there no more, I knew I wanted to do well at school, but I'd lost the reason why.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of floating around, not knowing what direction to go in, and money really started to sink in. When you're paying for yourself to go through school. So I was getting my Centrelink payments and working 2 days a week on the weekend, trying to fund myself through my VCE, which was the
Where did you work as a teenager?
Hungry Jack's on the weekends.
Yeah.
Diana Ferrari, a shoe shop. Most of my life I've actually changed jobs about every 12 months, just never being satisfied where I was. But yeah, there was one point where I was in school and I was embarrassed about money as well. Like, it was a topic that I didn't want to talk about. There was one point where I'd spent all my money and my account was in the negative, and I was too proud to tell anyone that I was in trouble. So when I didn't have enough money to catch the bus to school, I took 3 sick days in a row.
Wow, that would have been so hard for you.
Yeah, well, look, it was just a point that I was embarrassed about now, which is why I'm more than happy to share what was going on for me then to make a difference to other people who may not be in the best positions now.
Wow. Okay. And so after Hungry Jack's and things like that, where was your first stable job? Like, what did you first do?
I don't know that I could call anything I've ever really done quite stable, but look, my career took off. Look, I fell into a direct sales role where I was in shopping centres asking people to sponsor children.
Wow.
Did that for a year.
Yes.
Fell in love with sales, got a bit of a team going.
We're on the same team.
Were we? You did that too?
I did my first sales job doing for Mission Australia. I was stopping people on the streets.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
for ongoing donations.
Wow,
It's the toughest thing. Isn't
We
it?
have something in common because I was Easy Being Green and Cancer Council.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like the three of us. That's
Wow.
It's a big learning lesson.
Yeah,
isn't it?
very
Like,
big learning lesson. You have to be courageous. You need to stop people, talk to people that didn't want to talk to you.
So much fear.
Yeah. What
So
did you
much.
learn?
I learned that I can be whoever I want to be. I had this amazing boss who I remember very specifically when he took me there on my first day. You're not told what the job is that you're going to. You just come into the office for an all-day trial where they put you in their car, and I'm sitting there in the back of his car still not sure where I was going. There's another person with me. We get there and I realise what it is, and I'm like, I don't really have the money to taxi back to my car right now. I'm just going to hang out all day and try not to be rude. And before I knew it, at the end of the day, he'd stop someone and put me onto them. And suddenly it was me talking to them.
Right.
And I got my first sale and I went, wow, like it just gave me some confidence and excitement.
the best feeling, you're getting.
Oh, man. And then
your first
from
sale.
then I was hooked on the sales, and I went from being someone who was very, very shy, someone that didn't come out of my shell very often. My school reports all talk about how I was very smart, but they wish I'd speak up, to someone that was loud and proud. And it really, it took me completely out of my shell. Around a similar time, I did a personal development program called Landmark.
Wow.
And that absolutely transformed what I could do and who I could speak to.
That's great.
Being in sales now was just, it was phenomenal. It was exciting.
Yep.
I was still bad with money though.
Doesn't teach you to be good with money being in sales.
Oh, it's a lifestyle too, sales. I've been
that's
doing
true.
it for 15 years.
Yeah.
And I want to do a segment on
Yeah, we can.
sales.
Yeah, we can definitely.
Because life is sales.
Yeah.
You're selling. Everywhere you go, you're selling. Everyone's selling.
That's right.
Yeah.
Either you're selling or you're buying someone else's idea
Yeah.
or reasons.
And even if you are buying, you're actually selling too.
Oh, right.
Because I want to pay you this much.
Yeah.
I'm selling myself.
Right.
I want to pay
Yeah.
you this much.
That's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
if
selling
you
as well.
trade your product for these few pieces of paper, that's
Right. Good. So can you tell us about your first experience with regard to property then?
Yeah, well, I just landed a job in recruitment and I was really, really excited. In fact, they were flying me up to Brisbane to train, which no job had ever put me on a plane before. Like, I felt like this was it. I'd gone and bought corporate suits, and they flew me up to Brisbane, and I went to the bookstore at the airport and I bought a book which some of you might know about called Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki.
Such a great
I know.
book.
Our first guest, Bang, came on and spoke exactly the same book.
Great book. Great book.
Yeah, I was obsessed with it. So here I am up in Queensland. I'd never been there by myself. And on every break, on the lunch break, I'd find somewhere where I could hide from all my colleagues and just read the book. I sat in my hotel and I read the book. On the flight home, I bought the next one in the series, the next. And before I knew it, I'd read most of them.
Quadrant, wasn't it? The next one.
Cash Flow Quadrant,
Yeah.
I believe that was number 2. And then, there were heaps of phenomenal ones. I've read just about every one in the series, not some of the more recent ones, but there was a point where I'd read everything. I bought the board game, Cash Flow 101. I still play it sometimes.
So good.
Yeah, so while that wasn't a direct experience with property, that had me go, I'm sitting there like on this plane to this role going, what am I doing? I'm flying to a job. Like, why am I so excited? This is horrible. Get me out of here. But it just transformed the way I would look at things.
Yeah.
And then me and my friends went on a hunt for where else could we find this in Australia. I'd gone out and I looked at properties. Nothing made sense. Then found a property educator who showed how to do it in Australia, sat that program. And then I sat there for a few years. I was owed some money. And I was just waiting for that money to come in and waiting and looking at property and waiting and looking some more and waiting. And I did a mindset program where I realized that we are only in control, like we can only act on what we can control. If I'm waiting for some money and I've got no control over whether I can receive that cash or not, and I'm using that as my excuse to not invest, then I'm not actually in control of my own destiny. And that was the moment I went, look, I've heard about no money down deals. I've heard about ways of moving forward. I'd saved up a little bit of cash in my more recent job and I had $13,000 in my bank account.
Yep.
At the time they had the first homeowners grant, and I just spoke to an owner about, look, I'll buy your property off you, but I don't want to pay for it for 2 years. I'll give you this cash up front. There's your deposit. And I went out and did my first deal.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. So then what did you do next now after that?
Well, with that one, renovated it, leased it out, and eventually sold it for a $300,000 profit.
Wow, that's so great.
So my own PPR, that was exciting. In the meantime, I knew of someone, I knew a few people that I knew would be good business partners together. Yep. And they didn't know each other. They had very similar mindsets to me. They'd both gone through a lot of personal development. And I ended up getting some coaching around what I could do to make opportunity with it. And I ended up putting those two people together. And now we invest as the three of us now. So we've done a couple of much larger property deals.
Yep.
I've gone out then and gone on to my next project, which is 8 units. And on top of that, I've found a way to make quite large chunks of cash from property I don't own as well, and have just launched a business called Canopy Properties doing exactly that.
That's so amazing. Congratulations. And
well, lastly, I quit my job.
Yeah, I was just going to say,
what was everybody's achievement.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to get to that point, and you've achieved it, and you're 30. And that's
exactly. So let's talk about the job a little bit more, okay? Because everyone is working 12 hours, their regular job. So you were working for a company, I can't remember what it was, the property company.
Selling property,
that's right.
Off the plan.
What was it like for you to, how did you get up to quitting your job? I know that it took something. I know that it took a while. I knew it took something for you to quit your job and now do this solely. So we want to really share with the audience what it took and how they could maybe do that too. Yeah.
Well, the quitting the job part was the easy part. The hard part was getting to the point that I could do that, getting to the point where I was willing to jump. I'd seen a bunch of property strategies floating around for a few years. I'd seen friends doing them, and I'd looked at them and I'd thought about doing them someday. And look, I'm a bit of a competitive person. So a friend and I were in a challenge in a property competition together, and we like to bounce our our egos off each other. We'd like to just encourage each other to do well. So we'd set up games. We said, look, whoever replaces their income each.
Oh, wow.
If it was me, he had to take us skydiving. If it was him, we had to go go-karting.
Yeah.
I took him go-karting.
All right.
And then we put the next challenge on, and he had to take me skydiving. So we're going to do that quite shortly. Then I spoke to another friend and I said, look, I've heard this strategy. I know you'll love it. It's along the lines of what we discussed before. And so he said, I bet you can't do one before Christmas. And before I knew it, we were in a pact to both have one before Christmas, and we had it a week and a half later.
Wow.
So
that's
still
so
in
great.
November.
That's so great. So really you're saying to me that we need someone to hold you to account. Like you really need someone that is the foundation and that would push you forward. I think it's really hard to do things on your own and not really have someone to back you up.
Yeah, and look, sometimes people do it on their own, but it's such a lonely journey. Like my theory is whatever you do, it should be fun. Whether you go into investing, whether you stay in a job, it doesn't really matter, but what you do needs to be fun. And if you don't have that element of fun there, you're not going to enjoy yourself. But secondly, having someone there to keep you accountable makes all the difference.
Yeah.
The friendly banter, the chat back and forward, all of that stuff can be a lot of fun while having accountability there too.
Yeah, wow. And let's talk about, how you lost your why, which was your why was to take your mum around the world. So then after you had lost your mum, what was your why that carried you through to up until now?
Well, there were a few years where I really didn't have that why, and that was through the end of my school time, and that was where I struggled the most. And I sat down in a property event, and this one time I was just sitting in the back of a room watching someone on stage, and I started crying. Like I just realised, wow, like I've actually lost my why. And like it just hit me so hard. And then I had to think about it and try and collect it. And then for so long, my why wasn't perfect. But if you don't have a why, your why can just be finding your why.
Yeah.
And the
wow.
worst thing we can do is we can be a perfectionist and choose to not have a why just because we don't think we found the perfect one. I really think it's important just to define something, put it out there. What I have got now, my why is to live life large. So live life as large as I can, to push the boundaries of what's possible and to positively empower as many people as possible.
Oh, that's so great. That's an amazing why. It's a why that sounds bigger than you. So it's a why that sounds really big. So that has you really want something more than just for yourself.
Yeah, look, for myself is fun, but there's a limit to that. Like that's all ego driven. And while that can be good, that can also be horribly down. If I want to go out there and do big, scary things for me, there's a lot of reason not to do it. But when those big, scary things are for, my sisters and my brother and my parents and for, my friends and for the community, those massive steps seem a lot smaller in comparison to what I'll miss out on if I don't do that.
Yeah, wow.
Yes, I want things for myself. Yes, I want to have heaps of money so I can have the fancy house, the cars, all that sort of stuff. But that's not what's going to get me out of bed. That really means nothing at the end of the day. It's to actually go out and empower and inspire others. And that just makes me jump when jumping looks really scary.
Yeah. And I know that you do run like inspiring groups. So you have like a property meeting group. Did you want to tell us a little bit about that so our audience can know about it?
There's a couple of events that I go to and I like to play a big role in. It's not officially mine that I run, but I'm a big part of it.
Okay, yeah.
Just groups of like-minded people that get together. So a bunch of us are all students of a speaker, Dimna Boholt. We've got other ones that just catch up to chat about property. I'm in different Facebook groups. What I feel like is if you put yourself in an environment and no one around you is doing what you're passionate about, it's really hard and you stand out when you start to move forward. When you surround yourself with like-minded people and people that are doing more than what you do, that's when it's really easy to rise with them. So yeah. I find it so important to keep myself regularly around people who share common interests with me and common goals. And when you're around people that live this life large and actually understand their whys as well, you realize how much it really is about inspiring and giving back to people too.
Yeah. I always do know that we're the average of the 5 people closest to us. Yeah, and I always encourage people to, if you want to, in your future, you want to be like someone, you try to find those people to be around, you know. So if you're doing property right now, so you see a lot of people in property. Yeah, so that's really great. Also, now we really want to talk about what's there for you in the future. Like, what do you see for yourself in the future with regard to property, financially, or any other endeavors of business that you're going into?
I see myself really starting to push boundaries, playing a lot larger than I knew how to play. So when I talk about living my life large and pushing the boundaries of what's possible, it's really going out there and creating movements. It's going out there and making real differences to communities. It's going out there and creating a lot of affordable housing and perhaps positions that are not traditionally looked upon. It's going out there and working with lots of different joint venture partners and allowing their lives to change throughout the process as well. I feel that what I've done to date has actually been quite small in comparison to what's going to happen in the future. But a big part of that is educating and inspiring other people. That has to be a huge part of my future.
Wow, that's so great. So if for our listeners, if they wanted to meet you, talk to you, or how can they do that? If they wanted any coaching from you or anything like that?
Just get in touch with me via Facebook. So just Corina Sell, Corina Sell is my last name.
Oh, great. Yes. Anything else for you, Sam? Well, anything else that you'd like to tell our listeners?
What amazes me is how you transitioned from working, you're working a day job, and you moved on to investing in property. What was the determining factor for doing that transition into, like in the cash flow quadrant, you got that, what are those quadrants? You got the employee, you've got the self-employed, and then you've got the business owner and the investor. So at some point you switched over to that side. So
I went into a job that was in wealth creation and I was working as a contractor. So it was kind of a cross between being a job and actually being self-employed. And it was a place where they really inspired you to work on yourself and build your wealth. And it was a place where I could go, where I could talk about what I wanted to do without being shot down. So it was getting out of normal employment and into a place where this was all quite normal. Then it was, I went back and forward between a few different things for serviceability a bit later. But when I went back into a job, it was just this feeling of, whoa, like, this is the real world. This is where I sound crazy when I talk about the things I'm passionate about. This is the world where people shoot you down and tell you can't do that. So it was just knowing in my heart that I could. It was continuing to meet with like-minded people outside of work and just not letting go of those dreams.
You did a bit of both. You had one foot in your job and into the investing.
Yeah, so I was in my job and investing at the same time, and then it finally built the momentum up to just go, we can switch now. That's must have been amazing.
Fantastic.
Feeling, eh? What's your plans from now? What have you got further plans now? Like how many more properties?
Wow.
What are your achievements?
Look, I would love to move into large backpackers, hotels, smaller housing. There's all kinds of things that are on the agenda now, so it's just starting to play a bit bigger and playing outside of the spaces that the average investor would play in.
We'd love to hear all about it.
Yeah, we'll definitely follow your journey, and we want you back again so that you can tell us all about it. So awesome. We support you 100%, and thank you so much for being here. I know it was like pouring rain and, it took you something to get here. And we really, really appreciate it. So, yeah, thank you so much, Corina.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and thank you for your courage to share everything that you shared today. And I promise you that with just this conversation, you've made a difference to so many people.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Yen and Corina, for that enlightening talk.
Yeah.
I think we all learned something.
Yeah,
from
I
that.
did. I really learned to be courageous. I've got to really look for my why now.
Yes, why is it very important?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's one thing I'd say to the listeners, to really connect with their why and to give up getting it perfect. That you're better off having a why that's not perfect than having no why at all. And if you can't get that far, just make your why about finding your why. Just have something in
It's always
place.
something that you always got to have, just something to fall back on, isn't it? Like, when life takes you all the way down, and that why is like that safety net, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the foundation.
I think that picks you back up.
Well, everyone can do well when times are good, but when times aren't good, it's your why that gets
It's
you
a
out of bed in the morning.
Yes. I find that too sometimes. Yeah. I was waking up in the morning. Why?
Why am I waking up? What am I doing today? What's on the agenda? No idea.
Well, it's great to have you on, Corina, and Yen from International Women.
Yeah, International Women. We'll definitely interview you there too. Corina is going to be on the front cover of one of our magazines, which
Fantastic.
is, really exciting. Really exciting. She's excited about it too. So,
Yes. Well, we're all going to be following all of your journeys.
yes, thank you.
Yen and Corina. And thank you everyone for listening to Down Under Radio on the Health and Lifestyle Talk Show. We hope you enjoyed today's segment, and we'll see you all next week.
Bye, everyone.
Have a great day.
See you later.